Okay, welcome to the regular council meeting for July 28, 2015. We have the minutes from the last meeting. Any additions to the agenda? If not, we'll have any errors or omissions in the minutes as circulated. If not, we'll have a motion to accept. Moved by Councillor Moores, second by Councillor Pinsent. All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. Any business arising out of the minutes? No business arising out of the minutes. We'll move on to the disbursement report. Councillor Pinsent.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. For disbursement, I move for the disbursement report to be approved for $1,212,956.58.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Pinsent for the disbursement report. Do we have a seconder for that? Seconded by Councillor Moores. Any questions, discussions on the disbursement report? If not, all those in favor and against, the motion is carried. Committee reports. Let's see. Committee reports, Public Works and Planning. Councillor Finn. If I can get my system here working.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, I don't mean to interrupt the meeting. I'm missing the recreation report from our package here.
Yeah, they were only just circulated today. Dave, did you bring any extra copies of the minutes?
I don't have any.
Okay, they were just circulated today, so we'll read through, and if there's issues, we'll get them to you.
I should be able to forward a copy.
And you get a copy of that?
To Randy's email.
Okay. All right, Public Works and Planning Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wasn't present for this meeting. I can read the minutes if council is okay with that, and someone, a member that was present can move and someone else can second the minutes.
Correct.
Council fine? Okay. Minutes, the Public Works and Planning Committee, Monday, July 20th, 2015 at 4:30 p.m. Present, Deputy Mayor Barry Manuel, Councillor Bruce Moores, Councillors Amy Coady-Davis, Councillor Tom Pinsent. Present among staff were Town Manager Mike Pinsent, Director of Engineering and Works Jeff Sanders, Supervisor of Engineering and Public Works Wayne Tate, and Town Planner Mary Wan. Main Street parking and traffic flow. Met with several businesses on Main Street that expressed concerns with parking. They have been invited to the next Public Works meeting for further discussion. High Street parking, staff met with the Disability Association to discuss concerns they have with accessible parking spaces on High Street. Staff will commence work on moving the spaces to align with the depressions in the sidewalk or in the walkway. All spaces will be painted and appropriate signs erected. Crosswalks will be identified and signed. Garbage truck, staff explained issues we are having with one of our two-stream garbage trucks. It is a 2012 model, but it has lost the engine twice and has been down for extended periods. We have been looking to upgrade our old single-stream side-loader garbage truck with a used two-stream truck as a spare, but they are not available. There was an understanding that a new tandem truck with snow and ice control equipment would be tendered in 2015 for delivery in January 2016. Staff are now requesting this purchase be postponed for 1 year and tender be called for a two-stream garbage truck. The garbage truck is estimated at $300,000, which is less than the tandem truck, which is estimated at $340,000. The committee recommends proceeding with the tender for the new garbage truck for delivery in 2016. Sanitary sewer upgrade, 2nd Avenue. There has been ongoing issues with overloading of the sanitary sewer on 2nd Avenue, Victoria Street in recent years. Work has been done to remove stormwater from the sanitary system and the lift station is being upgraded. Camera inspections were just completed on the existing system and more will be done in the next couple of weeks. Survey work is also being done by consultant on all existing infrastructure to determine elevation and location. Town staff are investigating possible external sources of infiltration. The information will be presented to the committee at the next Public Works meeting for discussion and project discussion. Main Street West development. The residential land on Main Street West is being developed for sale by the town as single-family homes. Interest by prospective purchasers has been very low. One point mentioned to staff several times is that the land price is priced too high at $625 per foot frontage. We have also had requests to develop land as multiple units and or smaller affordable homes. The committee is open to reconsider the cost as well as the zoning and recommends it be discussed in more detail in the next committee meeting. Land for the Violence Prevention South Central. The Violence Prevention South Central has purchased a parcel of land from us on Main Street adjacent to the former oil bulk plant. The bulk plant property was remediated and there are 2 small sections that cannot be developed. The Violence Prevention South Central has been told they cannot get funding because the bulk plant being adjacent to their land unless there is a Phase 2 environmental assessment completed. This is on the land being purchased from the town, and they have asked this be done and the cost be covered by the town, approximately $3,500. The committee recommends this assessment be completed and the cost be charged to the land sales. Land request for Carey Place. The committee discussed a request for land at the rear of 4 Carey Place to construct an accessory building. The committee recommends that it be approved and sold as per policy. The green belt between Carey and Union Street must be maintained, so only trees necessary to allow construction are to be removed. Cartwright Street, O'Neill Avenue development. The committee discussed the latest plans for the duplex on O'Neill as well as comments from the business group. The committee recommends that an RFP be called for the sale and development of 1 duplex unit. The grubbing for the rear access road will be completed by the town. It will be the responsibility of the business group to purchase and place any gravel as required. Correspondence, KDJ Enterprises Limited. The committee discussed correspondence from KDJ Enterprises Limited requesting approval to truck Class A and Class B from a pit on Albany's Road to their arterial road project. The committee recommends this be approved, but with the following conditions. Minimum of 4 trucks. Trucks go in different directions on pedal to minimize traffic on the west end. Trucks to travel below the speed limit. Monitor any debris on the road from the trucks and clean up immediately. Maintain dust control on the end of Albany's Road near the homes. This is for Class A and B only. This is a one-time approval for the project only, and no other approvals will be considered in the future. Any other issues that arise during the trucking will be addressed by KDJ. If complaints are received, the approval may be reconsidered. Parking concerns, Finn Avenue and Beaumont Avenue. The committee discussed parking issues on Finn Avenue and Beaumont Avenue. Finn Avenue has been resolved. Staff are suggesting that parking on Beaumont Avenue from Suvala to Lincoln Road be permitted on the sidewalk side only. The committee recommends this be approved and the appropriate signage be installed. Correspondence, rezoning, Station Road, Mr. Power. The committee reviewed a request from Mr. Power to rezone 8 Station Road to allow for affordable residential apartments. The committee recommends this request be supported and the process to change the zoning commence. All costs associated with the zoning change will be the responsibility of the applicant. Civil matters between neighbors or town responsibility. The committee discussed this issue based on a recent issue before the court and recommends it be discussed at the next committee of the whole meeting. Nalcor tour. Nalcor staff have offered a tour of the local facilities in Grand Falls-Windsor and suggested evenings would work best. The committee recommends the staff arrange a meeting in early August outside the committee week and let council know the details. Long-term care. Several businesses have contacted the town looking for 2 to 5 acres of land to construct a long-term care facility. This is in response to the RFP the province has called for the private sector to construct and operate long-term care facilities throughout the province. Land request 43 Lincoln Road, Mr. Parsons. The committee reviewed a request to sell land adjacent to 43 Lincoln Road and recommends it not be sold at this time. The applicant can continue to use the property to park his travel trailer until a decision is made. Accessory building, 60 Lincoln Road, Mr. Ivany. The committee discussed correspondence from Mr. Ivany requesting to construct an accessory building on his property as per the attached drawing. The committee recommends the application be approved provided the building is rotated and the setback from the road be the same as the residence located at 62 Lincoln Road. Land request 5 Knight Street. The applicant has requested an additional 50 feet at the rear of 5 Knight Street. The committee recommends this be approved and sold as per policy. Correspondence 100 King Street, Mr. McDonald. The committee discussed correspondence from Mr. McDonald concerning garbage collection at his four unit apartments at 100 King Street and the additional costs associated with the new central waste regulations. 4-unit residential buildings are taxed at the same mill rate but are not assessed by the same method. 3 units or less are based on market value, where 4 units and above are based on the income approach. Income approach results in a reduced assessed value and therefore less tax. The committee recommends no change in the present policy. Summary permit summary. The committee reviewed the permit summary for the end of June and are pleased with the results. The number of permits issued up to the end of June is on par with 2014. The total value of construction is $6,859,000 and 36% higher than 2014. The committee recommends this report be accepted. The meeting adjourned at 6:45 p.m. Mr. Mayor,
It's been moved by Deputy Mayor and seconded by Councillor Pinsent. Any questions, discussions on the Public Works and Planning Committee report? If not, all those in favour and against, motion is carried. Councillor Finn, we have a tender and we also have a removal. If you could do that, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. There are tender results are in for 2 projects of council, and one, Mr. Mayor, is Gilbert Street, and the second one, Mr. Mayor, is related to work for the town hall. So, with respect to Gilbert Street, Mr. Mayor, I move that the tender for Pircon Limited at $499,887.10 be accepted, be the accepted bidder for the upgrade of Gilbert Street.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Finn and seconded by Councillor Pinsent that the bid for Pircon Limited for Gilbert Street. All those in favour? Against? Motion's carried.
Mr. Mayor, some town hall upgrades. I move that the bid from RD Construction at $118,650 be accepted as a low bidder for the upgrades or the repairs to the town hall.
Moved by Councillor Finn, seconded by Councillor Moores. Questions, discussions? All those in favour? Against? Motion's carried. Removal order.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I note to the public that those costs are, all numbers include HST. Mr. Mayor, this is with respect to removal order for a building in the town of Grand Falls-Windsor. And I will read as follows. In the matter of the Municipalities Act of 1999 and the Urban and Rural Planning Act of 2000, and in the matter of an order of the Town of Grand Falls-Windsor concerning a dilapidated building near Ivany's Road adjacent to the Corduroy Brook subdivision leased by Mr. Hunter within the Town of Grand Falls-Windsor. Mr. Mayor, take notice that with the ongoing deficiencies since 2012, the building on this leased property is now structurally unsound, as well as a public nuisance with negative impacts on the adjacent residents and the subdivision development. It is ordered that you demolish the building, remove all residual debris, and restore the property to its original state. It is further ordered that you undertake this action by August 19, 2015. Mr. Mayor, I so move.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Finn. We have a seconder for that. Second by Councillor Moores. Any questions, discussions on this order? I guess just a comment, we're unfortunate we've got to go through this exercise again. And one of those things that sometimes get dragged out. And of course, the last time an order was issued, on a mere technicality, we've got to go through this exercise again. And simply, it really didn't bear a whole lot with regards to the removal order. It was just the fact that, according to the Municipalities Act and Urban and Rural Planning Act, that the order had to be sanctioned in the next regular council meeting. And at that time, those, around how many years ago that is now, it seems like it's been going on forever, that we did have a Salmon Festival meeting inserted in there as well, and got caught up with the Salmon Festival issues, and we did not do it at that particular meeting, but the subsequent meeting to that, which technically is a technicality, I guess. And so anyway, we are now going through this exercise again, and hopefully it will not be as long as the last one, so hopefully we get something done. Okay, any other questions, discussions? All right, let's move on to what's that? Oh, I didn't get all in favor? I'm sorry for that, Mr. Town Manager, getting excited around here now. All those in favor? Against? Motion's carried. Parks, Recreation, Special Events, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Parks, Recreation, Special Events Committee met Monday, July 27th at 4:30 p.m. In attendance for myself as chair, Councilor Amy Coady-Davis, Councilor Rodney Mercer, Councilor Tom Pinsent, Councilor Bruce Moores, and Councilor Darren Finn. Staff present were Mike Pinsent, Town Manager, Keith Antle, Parks and Recreation Foreman, Todd Mercer, Leisure Services Programmer, and David Nichols, the Director of Parks and Recreation. Playground update. The Parks and Recreation Foreman informed the committee that the work is progressing well at the Sutherland Drive Playground. Our Parks and Recreation staff have commenced the landscaping of the playground and walkways. The playground is expected to be open for activities within the next 2 weeks. Work has commenced on the Main Street Playground and is proceeding on schedule. A tentative opening date will be presented at the next committee meeting. Splash pad update. The Parks and Recreation Foreman informed the committee that the splash pad has been commissioned for use. The contractor has a few small items to complete, and her staff have commenced landscaping the area and the walkways. The splash pad will be ready to open for activities within the next 2 weeks. The splash pad and Sutherland Drive Playground will open on the same day. And just a couple of comments, Mr. Mayor, on the playground and splash pad. A lot of excitement around town. Of course, we spoke out of many meetings about the playground, the new playground on Main Street and Sutherland Drive and the splash pad. And of course, everybody is anxious to get it up and running. The weather lately, I think, has allowed us a little bit of a reprieve in terms of
Sure has.
people's excitement, but it is turning around. And we're saying there in a couple of weeks. There's still a tremendous amount of work to be done down there. A lot of landscape work needs to be done. The equipment, for all intents and purposes, is in the splash pad is pretty well ready for use and could be used, but obviously with the playground construction underway, it's impossible to have a facility under use while we got a construction site next door for safety reasons. But it will be done very soon, and we're looking at hopefully next Friday, if not the week after. The kids will be in there playing on the equipment, and people should know that there will still be some work left to do. And once the playground is operational, there'll be some pathways to put in there. There's some benches, garbage receptacles, picnic tables, that sort of thing that'll be added as time progresses. But certainly good news that those are going to be ready to go very soon.
And will the
And-
weather come, accordingly?
Well, yeah, I think so. I think the weather's going to break now. We're going to have a nice August, and September sometimes is very nice as well, as we know. And even though the kids will be back in school, there's no reason why they won't be able to make use of that facility after school and on the weekend. So looking forward to that, as I know all the citizens are as well. Meeting with the Dog Park Association, the committee welcomed Mr. Elmo Hewlett and Mr. Michael Goodger from the Dog Park Association to the meeting at 5:15 p.m. The committee and the representatives of the Dog Park Association discussed the newly opened dog park operations and policies. The Dog Park Association is very pleased with the new park and all of the features and amenities included in the park. The additions of a small dog park section have also been a positive way to ensure the safety of small dogs. The association requested the park's accessibility issues be dealt with and that directional signage for the dog park be placed on the Trans-Canada Highway and around town. The association informed the committee that the dog park is receiving much usage, and at times there's been up to 20 dogs using the park at a time. The association noted that all children should be supervised by their parents or guardians while at the park due to safety concerns. The representatives of the Dog Park Association were excused from the meeting at 5:40 p.m. The committee discussed the items of concern brought up at the meeting by the association. The committee recommends that staff improve the entrance and walkway accessibility and that the dog park directional signage be erected on the highway in a few areas around town. The committee also recommends that the official opening of the dog park be held sometime in September, as suggested by the association. Free summer concerts update. The committee discussed the free summer concerts in the park. The first concert was held on Friday, July 17th at Church Road Park, and it was a great success. Over 200 people attended the concert and enjoyed the music of the Charlotte Murphy Band. Staff recommend that Church Road Park is a more convenient site to hold future free concerts. The next concert will be held on this Friday, July 31st from 7 to 9 p.m., again at Church Road Park. The committee discussed the possibility in the future of switching to another weekday and having a day concert. The committee will discuss these matters at the next committee meeting. Correspondence Gorge Park request. The committee discussed correspondence requesting the use of Gorge Park for an event in September. The committee recommends that the director obtain further information on this request and identify the responsibilities requested of the department and report back to the next committee meeting for discussion. Ball field lights update. The Parks and Recreation foreman informed the committee that both the Main Street field and the Goodyer Avenue field lighting have been installed, commissioned, and are in operation. There are a few programming areas that will be adjusted to accommodate different game times, but overall the lights are working well and the staff have received many positive reports from the field users. 2015 Spring and Summer Special Events Update. The director presented a Summer Special Events and Tournaments updated list. There are 3 new events added since the last list was presented. It was also noted that the Windsor Stadium will open for the summer hockey and figure skating schools on Friday, July 31st. As a result, the department's summer sports program and the summer camp have been relocated to the Joe Byrne Memorial Stadium and Exploits Valley Intermediate. The committee complimented the department on their work throughout all the special events and tournaments. Summer program update. The Leisure Services Programmer informed the committee that the department's summer sports and summer camp programs are going well. Registration is up to over 200 participants, and the summer camp program is up to capacity. The department is also involved in co-sponsoring and assisting minor baseball, minor soccer, volleyball, and tennis. All of these programs have increased registrations this year, and the programs are all running well. The unpleasant July weather has not discouraged any youth from participating in the various programs. Communities in Bloom judging. The director informed the committee that the National Communities in Bloom judges were in town from July 16th to the 18th to evaluate Grand Falls-Windsor for the 2015 National Finalists Competition. The director and the chairman, myself, hosted judges Mr. Bruce Hay from Toronto, Ontario, and Mr. Jim Beard from St. John, New Brunswick. The judges were shown many areas of strength that our town has to offer as the 2015 Provincial Tidy Towns winner and a 2015 Communities in Bloom finalist. In addition, the judges were given a personal Exploits River boat tour from Mr. Kenneth Stanley, which they enjoyed. The judges also attended the Queen Street Dinner Theatre and Motown show and were impressed with the talent in our town. The judges reported a good showing and have since recommended that we apply for an additional Heritage Award, which is offered to qualifying communities. The results of the judge's evaluation will be presented on the September 30th, 2015. Green space mowing request. The committee discussed a request from a resident that the town mow and care for a green space area adjacent to his property. The committee recommends that this request be denied. And just to carry on a little bit about that request, Mr. Mayor, just to shed some light on the reasoning, I guess, there's a ton of green spaces in our town, and a lot of them are near residences, and we've had a lot of requests from people to have their green spaces, their grass next to their houses may not necessarily be their property technically to be mowed by the town. And as everybody knows, the town is always in full swing trying to keep up on the mowing around town, and there's no trouble to drive around town on any day and see the mowers going and trying to keep up with everything that's going on. And in this particular case, it's an area which is not unlike many areas in town, so we felt that these requests, we cannot get into opening that can of worms, so to speak, because if you do it for one or two, then you're sort of obligated to do it for all, and we really don't have the resources to be able to keep up with that kind of demand. And I would add that I'd like to see the residents, take it upon themselves. If they have a green space near their house, I know I have one near mine, and a lot of people got these sidewalks in front, and there's some frontage in front of that. Go out and mow it when you're out cleaning up your property. I mean, there's really not that much to do, and it certainly helps us keep the town nice and tidy. So I'd encourage residents to consider doing that the next time they're out and about their gardens. Valley Road Cemetery. The committee discussed a request from a resident regarding the Valley Road Cemetery. The Parks and Recreation foreman was going to contact the Interfaith Cemetery Committee. Due to other pressing work, the foreman was not in contact with the cemetery committee. The foreman will follow up and obtain the information for discussion at the next committee meeting. Memorial Grounds project update. The committee discussed the Memorial Grounds. The committee requests that staff arrange a meeting with the Royal Canadian Legion Memorial Grounds Project Committee to jointly discuss the project. And again, just for a second, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to touch on the Memorial Grounds. Social media is a wonderful thing, You get all kinds of information on there. Some of it is, of course, is all absolutely true. It's all true. But in all seriousness, I did hear some disparaging comments about the work that's going to go on or plan to go on at the Memorial Grounds. And I just want to clarify a little bit about how this came about and where we are with it. The Memorial Grounds project is a project that was basically initiated by our local Legion. They wanted some changes made to put in some trails through the park there, to upgrade the wall out front, to do some signage, interpretive signage about the wars and that sort of thing to kind of spruce it up. And of course to fix up the cenotaph monument, to have it repointed, fixed up and moved to another area very close to where it is now. And they had asked the town support, particularly with the cenotaph. And the town have agreed to move the cenotaph, have it taken down, have it repointed and redone, and put back in place on a larger base, which would make it more prominent. The rest of the work that's planned would be up to the Legion to carry out through fundraising or other ways that they may be able to obtain funding. So it refers here to a meeting. We'd like to know where the committee is to with their fundraising efforts and where they're to with the rest of the planning. But I just want to clarify, like, some people, if they're against, which is fine, everybody's entitled to their opinion, if they're against any work being done here, well, make your voice be known through us if you wish, but more appropriately to the Legion, because those are the people through their committee who are proposing that we get this work done and the changes be made. So really speak to the Legion if you do have any comments or concerns about that project, and very soon we'll be discussing where we go from here. Just a couple more things. No smoking, town facilities. The committee has noticed that a number of residents have been smoking at town facilities. No smoking is permitted at any town facilities, and in particular any recreation facilities. It has been noted that many people are smoking while activities are being played, while children are present, and also many sports participants are smoking while playing their sports. The committee recommends that staff erect several no smoking signs at all the town recreational facilities. The committee also requests that the residents please respect the no smoking policy as a courtesy to protecting other people's health and space. Stadium's year-end financial statements. The committee discussed the stadium's year-end financial statements and some ways to decrease the stadium deficits. The director noted that rentals decreased by 14 to 18% last year. Also, many of the groups are not interested in starting up until mid-October. The director noted that the Windsor Stadium will open for ice activities on July 31st. The Joe Byrne Memorial Stadium will open for ice activities on October the 20th. Pending ice rentals demand, the staff will also strictly enforce the no cancellations policy throughout the season. Staff will have additional proposals to decrease the stadium deficits at the next committee meeting. The committee recommends that the presented staff proposal be approved and that the additional ways be pursued to decrease the stadium deficits. And the meeting adjourned at 7 p.m. and I move the recommendations and report of this committee.
Okay, it's been moved by Deputy Mayor and seconded by Councillor Coady-Davis. Any questions, discussion on the minutes? I missed the meeting. Just a question, I guess, with regard, because I know the recovery function they're looking at is the Celebrates Recovery from Addiction in September, and I think this is a pretty big event, and I think it's national in scope, and I don't think there's a whole lot in Newfoundland and Labrador that recognize that. And I'm assuming that I have a little bit of, I'm assuming you're going to contact them fairly quickly because they are looking at making a decision fairly quickly as to how to go about that, because it is planned to be done in September, but I think they have to do some preliminary work of marketing and advertising, that sort of thing. So I'm just a bit concerned if we prolong it for another 3 weeks or so that there may be some issues. So I'm assuming that we'll get that done fairly quickly and be able to get a response back to them.
Yeah, well, we can certainly urge the director to contact the appropriate people. What we wanted to do really was contact them to get more information on exactly what they were proposing there in terms of venue logistics, and that the requests have been for Gorge Park. And some at the committee felt that maybe Church Road Park would be a better location for a big event like that because of the space available there and accessibility and that visibility within the community. So we'd like to contact the, I think it was a lady that put in the request there, and
I
be able to discuss.
I don't think that would be an issue with
Yeah.
it. I just think that they're trying to secure the venue so they can get this marketing out and get this event set up. So, Faces and Voices of Canada. Okay.
There is no issue with them having their event. Just
Okay.
Where?
Okay. So I think while in part of that dialogue, we can,
I've already emailed.
the lady. Okay, perfect. All right, good. Any further questions, discussions? If not, all those in favor? Against? Motion's carried. I think that's it for the committee reports. Any notice of motion? No notice of motion. We'll go to other business. Councillor Coady-Davis.
I only have a couple of items this evening. I want to remind residents that the Queen Street Dinner Theatre, you still have the month of August to take in some of their shows. The evening show is Motown Memories, and the lunchtime show is Yesterday's Men. So you can contact the Legion to make reservations, or you can reserve on the website, queenstreetdinnertheatre.com. And I know the shows fill up fairly quickly, so if you are planning to attend, you should probably make your reservations soon. And just another reminder, the Deputy Mayor mentioned in the Parks and Rec minutes that the concert in the park, the next free one, will happen this Friday, July 31st, from 7 to 9 p.m. at Church Road Park, and will feature Clever. And just one other note, and I'm sure Mayor Hawkins and most likely Deputy Mayor are going to mention as well, the Blue Jays Honda Super Camp, which was held here Tuesday and Wednesday. I was fortunate enough that both two of my children were involved in that camp, and I had the opportunity to stay and watch the full camp and watch the professional ball players, Lloyd Mosby, Dwayne Ward, Jesse Barfield, and Brian McRae, and their team of Blue Jays assistants and coaches and trainers work with the children. I think there was over 100 kids in attendance at the camp. We were fortunate that day one happened outside on Goodyear Avenue Field. Day two, we moved inside to the Joe Byrne because of the amount of rain. And the amount of rain was not a big deal to us. We're kind of used to it, but the Blue Jays were quite amazed at the amount of rain that actually fell. They were telling the children and in conversation, myself with a couple of them afterwards, they don't experience rain for that long a period of time. They said, they had trouble sleeping. They woke up 3:30 because the rain and wind was beating the window at a hotel. Woke up again 4:30 because the rain was still coming. 5:30, got up for the day because they couldn't get back to sleep because of the rain. And then the remainder of the day, just rain, rain, rain. They were amazed at the amount of rain that fell and where it was going. They could not figure out where the rain was going, how it was draining, and how quickly it cleaned up, off the roads and out of the parking lots and that. So I think that speaks volumes to the infrastructure that we have available here. They said if they had that amount of rain in Ontario where they live, it'd be up to their knees. Their sewer systems wouldn't have been able to handle it, and it just would have been complete chaos. So they're used to, a big storm lasts about 3 minutes for them of rain, and, a major storm is about 5 minutes of heavy rain. So they were amazed, so that was interesting to hear. But just back to the camp again, the interaction with the children, how they were with the children, their teaching techniques, it was tremendous to have them here. Hats off to Terry Hamilton and the executive of Grand Falls-Windsor Minor Baseball for working so hard to make that happen. They announced that they will be back again next year, which is huge. They never announce during a camp that they are coming back the following year. They've never done that. You have to go through a whole application process again and apply again, and hopefully you'll be successful in again having them come to your community. So they were impressed, obviously, with what we had to offer with regards to facilities and how they were treated here in the community, the amount of children who participated. So hats off, and thank you to the Blue Jays organization, Jays Care, for their donation and contribution of $150,000, which is the maximum grant that they do give out to municipalities. So again, that was huge, and went directly, of course, to the cost of the lights at Goodyear Avenue Field, which will help, obviously, the minor baseball organization, not just in our local programs, but as well with attracting tournaments and being able to host tournaments and scheduling more teams and having more people visit your community, because we now have extended playing time in that we have a lit facility where they can play those games. So thanks to Jay's organization, Jay's Care, thanks to Honda for sponsoring the Super Camps, and of course thanks to Minor Baseball for making application, and to the rec department for being able to spruce up those facilities and get them all ready to host the camp earlier in the week. Thank you.
Councilor Moores.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I understand that we had a great soccer event the weekend. There was quite a few kids involved, and I'd like to congratulate the executive on a well-presented event. Also, the baseball. I did the baseball camp. I attended a few events, and I still can't get over how Davy Jane I don't think he'll ever come back and get his feet on the ground again. He was so excited about the whole event, and I'd like to congratulate Terry and the executive on the fantastic work that they've done with this camp. It was a great success. I'd also like to say a thank you to Councillor Finn. I've got to recognize the work that Darren has put into the Salmon Fest. I know we're all on the committee, but Darren spent many a night after the committee meetings and I'd like to commend you on the excellent job that you did, sir. And we appreciate the time you put in, so thanks very much, Darren.
Councillor Mercer.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. In keeping with soccer, I'd like to congratulate the soccer organization as well, the executive and the students involved with soccer. Our 3 kids are involved with the Soccer Tots program, and it's a phenomenal organization to see little 2- and 3-year-olds out on the field getting their hand and eye coordination or foot and eye coordination together, kicking the ball, and it's just an absolute privilege to watch these kids in action, and so hats off to the executive and all the staff. A couple other issues. Many occasions in the past 18 months you've heard me talk about the CBC, and I think tonight will be the last time I'll officially speak about the CBC. And I just want to update Council and our town on the Senate Committee on Transportation and Communication. That's the committee that we presented to back in December. They finally released their report after 18 months, and the report was entitled Time for Change, the CBC in the 21st Century. And I don't know if you should take that a little sarcastically or not, but I did. Anyway, overall theme of the report was based around accountability and transparencies. 22 recommendations in all. One recommendation which stood out to me more than the other was recommendation number 6, and it said to be more transparent in its operations, specifically with regard to disclosure of financial information, procurement, and contracts. And that's where our problem was when we lost the CBC here in Grand Falls-Windsor. We were offering a better deal. They refused our deal and decided to go somewhere else and pay 4 or 5 times the money. So I was glad to see that in there. Unfortunately, I don't think this is going to do anything to bring the CBC back to Grand Falls-Windsor. I sort of knew that once the decision's made in government, reversing it, like slim to none, but at least we just can't give up on everything either, right? So it was too bad we didn't have the appetite with the public, with the political leaders, and the drive to try and keep CBC here in Grand Falls-Windsor, because CBC in Grand Falls-Windsor, I would imagine that the longest relationship with any town in this province, from right across, as right here in Grand Falls-Windsor. So it's too bad to see him gone. I wish there was more some political leaders could have done, lobbying efforts and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I think we did a great job.
Yeah, we did.
We kept the fuel
thing
to the
about
fire.
It's pretty good. It's pretty bad to try to lobby after the decision's already been made. You know, you and I went to several of those meetings and really to a point when you were able to get a copy of that contract, which showed very clearly that they were backtracking and that they had actually done this contract before they had even consulted the people or real estate in Grand Falls-Windsor. So, you know, I still think there's a little bit of hanky-panky that went on there. Yeah. That, and then of course, once a decision made, it's very difficult to reverse it. So.
Yeah, it's not surprising that people have a sour taste with government and politics, and because of all this, because these are the actions by government that gives people a negative attitude toward government, because often we see decisions being made before it's even made public or any consultations. And if we didn't get our hands on a copy of the contract, they would have just pawned us off as if to say we got a better deal in another town than we did here in Grand Falls-Windsor. But we were able to prove them wrong. We did our work, and like I said, we put fuel to the fire and kept them at their feet. And so anyway, I'm glad the work we did, and too bad we couldn't save the 6 or 7 positions, but I think deep down those 6 or 7 people that lost their jobs here in Grand Falls-Windsor and relocated other places, they didn't lose their jobs in the end, but I'm sure that they would have rather been satisfied to settle down here in Grand Falls-Windsor. In keeping with the federal government, Canada Post, there's been a lot of rumors going around lately, not only here in Grand Falls-Windsor, but across the country, and particularly on the Avalon Peninsula with St. John's. So a lot of St. John's, Mount Pearl, and even Stephenville recently have lost a door-to-door mail delivery. No big surprise. It was coming to an end someday. I think it's going to come sooner rather than later here in Grand Falls-Windsor. It's not something that I'm going to miss. I've never had the opportunity or luxury of having door-to-door delivery, but the downside with losing door-to-door delivery is a loss of jobs that follows afterward. So I think here in Grand Falls-Windsor right now we've got 10, 12, maybe 13 Canada Post employees, and my fear is that these are more jobs that are going to be lost here in our community, and good paying jobs. But with the loss of door-to-door delivery, what follows is these big community mailboxes and super mailboxes that you sometimes see, especially in newer developments. The unfortunate thing is, in place of the door-to-door delivery, what Canada Post got to do now, they've got to still make it convenient for the homeowner to pick up his or her mail. So what Canada Post and the union have been seeing in St. John's is that they're picking areas of City St. John's and Mount Pearl that have been well established for years, and they say, okay, we need to put mailboxes on the street. So they come in with an excavator or backhoe, they dig up somebody's front lawn, they pour a pad and put a concrete pad down and put a mailbox up with zero consultation with the public. So I'm sure that if it's happening in City St. John's and in Stephenville and all other areas across the country, it's going to happen here in Grand Falls-Windsor. So what I'd like to have is council write a letter to Canada Post requesting that we have some consultation with the public, because it seems that they've got no conscience when they come to install one of these mailboxes. So I think we should open the lines of communication and maybe set parameters on where they could put these places, and put these mailboxes in certain places, just to make it more appealing to our residents. Pardon me?
Mr. Mayor, we do have some say, but, usually there's not many options in the neighborhood to put the mailboxes. The sad part of that, about this discussion, those two topics, is Canada Post made a profit in their last statement of hundreds of millions of dollars, and yet they're going to decrease the service to the Canadian public. Meanwhile, with the CBC, they're making the people of Canada, through the federal government, subsidize CBC by $1 billion a year, and there doesn't seem to be any let up in how much money is going out the door that way.
Two ends of the spectrum.
So anyway, I'd like to see some consultation with the town, with our residents, and with Canada Post on this, because the last thing that I'd like to see in my front yard is the back of a mailbox and an entourage of 30, 40 plus vehicles a day pulling up, getting their mail. So sort of disrupts your enjoyment of your private property. So I think we should try and open the lines of communication with Canada Post, be a little proactive, and try and reduce as much turmoil and headache to our residents possible.
Rights, does Canada Post have to come in and just install a mailbox where they want? Is there federal legislation or something, or? It just seems odd that you can come and put a concrete pad down as you describe. I would certainly support what you're saying, because I wouldn't want it in front of my property either. Certainly would take away from selling your property, or the value of your property, that is no doubt. So I just wonder, do we have information, or is that something we have to explore?
Well,
We'd have to explore it. Certainly, I would feel that much of the land is either town-owned or crown-owned, and the crown being province. I'm not aware of the government of Canada owning any land within our boundary, so I don't know how you can just go take land or install infrastructure on town or crown land. So I feel that we're more than a body that gets consulted with. But I do hear what you're saying about the City of St. John's. I find that very odd.
Yeah.
Something we certainly got to get more information on.
Yeah, at least they should be seeking permission or recommendations from council and council staff on where to place these mailboxes, because essentially the town owns the land. The boundary between the sidewalk and your front line, there's an easement going through that the town owns, and they can go by and dig up and do whatever. But yet, this is a consultation process, which I think needs to be at the forefront, and consultation with the residents is number one, because I wouldn't want it in front of my house either. So, Living on Grenfell Light Street, moving on, Mr. Mayor, living on Grenfell Lights, I often travel the much discussed and debated Grenfell Lights Artie Scott intersection. And I noticed last week town staff were out and did a great job of putting up new signs and speed limits, that type of thing. So just want to advise the public that if you're traveling that area, there are new signs up, speed limit has been reduced, and that our town municipal enforcement officers will be out, will be patrolling those areas and giving out tickets. So just a heads up to any motorists in that area. Policing. I know policing has been on our radar for quite some time, and there was a couple of media reports late last week and I think even yesterday about an increase in policing presence here in the central region over the next few weeks, that type of thing, because of other activities going on. But this is a little different than the policing that we're used to. I had a resident make a comment to me yesterday, well, why do you need more police here? We've already got a full complement of 4 municipal enforcement officers. And I had to explain the difference that our municipal enforcement officers don't have the mandate or the jurisdiction that the RCMP got. So rather than giving people a different perception on what our policing force do and what the RCMP do, two different things. I wouldn't want to give anyone the false perception of security. So I just want to advise the public that we enforce traffic, we enforce rules and regulations around our town. We don't do anything with respect to the Criminal Code of Canada, and we're as glad as possible to do more and more. And if we could have a police officer on every street trying to make our place, or our town, a safer place, I'd love that, but unfortunately we can't do it. We still need to lobby the RCMP in the province. So anyway, just want to give people the heads up that there's a little bit of a difference between the two policing forces, and we're doing great. Our officers are out there every day. They're being seen, they're visible both day and night, so kudos to those people that are out there working for our town. Just briefly on what Councillor Moore said, I'd like to congratulate Councillor Finn on the Salmon Fest. By far probably one of the toughest files in this town is the Salmon Fest file, and I'd like to congratulate Councillor Finn on the Salmon Fest. I had a great time. Everyone I've spoken to had a great time, and I think there was a success all around. So looking forward to next year, and I've been receiving lots of positive comments. One last thing, I had the option, or had the luxury, I should say, of having family visit me these past few weeks from Vietnam. My sister and her spouse are living in Vietnam. They're in the oil industry, and they came to visit with their family, and I took them around Falls-Windsor, and they absolutely loved the place. It's much different from where they're living too, and they were amazed at how clean our town was. Garbage cans around, no litter, fresh air. Took them down around the river, showed them around.
Cold temperatures.
Cold temperatures, which they're definitely not used to. But one recommendation and suggestion that they did have is for future development of the town. They love down around the river and watching people on the river salmon fish, and they'd like to see a trail going along the river. Like there's lots of the river down there that the average person can't see unless you're out in a boat, that type of thing. So I just told my nephew, who's 12 years old, that I would pass that along to the mayor, and hopefully in years to come, when he comes back for another visit, we can take him on a nice little walking tour of the river. Anyway, Mr. Mayor, thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Mercer. Councillor Pinsent.
I sound like a broken record. Speak a little bit about Salmon Festival, not to get right into it, but I'll speak about Mr. Councillor Finn in a few seconds, but also like our town manager, our staff, the amount of work that goes into putting off our event, and I've seen a lot of the facilities and pretty well just about everywhere, especially central and in the west coast and everything else. And our facilities are second to nobody, by far too. And that's a compliment to the people of the town staff and the recreation department and the people that keep the facilities. And to run a festival, whether it's 1,000 people or 10,000 or 50,000 people, the amount of work's still the same. And I'd just like to thank the town staff that puts an enormous amount of work. We oftentimes, we sit up here and we put the decisions in there and they follow through, but the towns, we can always say, every time they go out, we know it's going to be a first-class job. And that's a compliment to our staff and, of course, the town manager, who is, he's up to his eyes in it. He works diligently, even on vacation. He has no hesitation about being available. So, and we've interrupted his vacation in sunny Florida a few times to do it. But I would also like to compliment and thank Councillor Finn as well. Councillor Finn ran a very difficult, it's been the last 2 years have been very difficult, and difficult for him, very time consuming. It's all great when, you know, we don't have competition from other major festivals and things like that, but he always gave the time, but he also always gave everybody a chance to have their say. Whether he agreed with it or not, everybody had their say. And for anybody to say they didn't have a chance to say or didn't have a chance or feel part of it, well, it was either you just didn't want to. So I think the professionalism that he showed, I have to say, my hat's off to you. I have a lot of respect for what you did the last 2 years. And it goes without saying, three of us have said it now, and I'm not going to beat it to death, but thanks very much. And to the town manager and all your staff, and hopefully that'll be passed down. Just like to tell everybody about the 75th anniversary of St. Joseph's Parish. Their ceremonies are ongoing. We went to a dinner a couple of weeks ago, myself and the deputy mayor, the mayor. I think, Councillor Moores, were you there? Yeah. You were there in spirit. I know I felt it.
You feel it, yeah.
But they're going to continue on. 75 years. I grew up in St. Joseph's Parish, went to St. Joseph's and came through the system. So it's a kind of some of the people that we met at the dinner is people I hadn't seen in years. And so pay attention to or just watch for some of their upcoming events throughout the rest of the year. Encourage residents, once again, the concerts in the park. This is a chance to feature local artists, a chance for families. This is not like a Salmon Festival concert where it's an economic, this is more of for families and giving back, and hopefully people will continue, as they did in Church Road Park, to come out and take part in it. And I think that is it for me today.
Thank you, Councillor Pinsent. Councillor Finn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to thank the council for acknowledging the work to run the Salmon Festival. I look forward to reporting on that in the near future. And so I didn't plan to give a report on it, and I won't. We're still compiling our results, and we intend to present it all as one picture. So we'll do that in the near future. I'm just coming back off a couple of weeks of leave, rest, away from all of council and work issues. And I very much enjoyed that as well. And some of the issues that have already been covered by other councillors in other business are some of the issues I was going to raise. So they're raised already, and I won't repeat them. So I have no other business to add at this point, Mr. Mayor. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Finn. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a few things there. I just want to, reiterate, I won't go on too long at all, but the Blue Jays camp and what a fantastic event that was for our community. And the great work by the Minor Baseball Association, particularly Terry Hamilton, and all his hard work to bring this to our town. And Councillor Coady-Davis said it very well about how impressive these guys were, not only their instruction, but how much how they engaged the general public down around the field, talking to the parents around the fence. Just fantastic. And we were at the Salmon Ladder for a meet and greet, which Terry Hamilton told me at the time that these guys were not obligated to attend, but they all did, and they stayed for a couple hours, and just fantastic ambassadors for the game of baseball. A great experience for the kids, and certainly glad that they announced that they will be coming back again next year, and I understand there will be some different alumni next year as well, so you get to see some different faces from Blue Jays past. Also, a few other events on the go. Obviously, as you'd expect in the summertime here in Grand Falls-Windsor, is always busy, but the last couple of weeks in particular, there's been just so much on the go. And I mean, Councillor Pinsent spoke of the facilities in town, and we know we have tremendous facilities, especially when it comes to recreation, and it's so nice to see them utilized to the level that they are. There was a soccer fest on this past Saturday. I don't know how many teams were in town, but multiple teams. And pardon me, 18 teams. Director tells me in town. I know my son participated on Centennial Field to see 6 or 7 games going on at the one time up there. Lots of traffic up and around there. Just a fantastic view if you're up, and I'm sure the director got some pictures and that we may be able to share on social media and that sort of thing. But congratulations to the soccer group. A week prior to that, there was a baseball tournament here. I should mention soccer has a couple more big tournaments, mega tournaments coming up in August as well, where they're going to be hosting provincial championships. The Soccer Fest was all about fun. There was a baseball tournament as well. On the same day, there was a baseball tournament. I was down barbecuing some hot dogs because, again, my son was participating in the tournament. And I knew I wanted to get away for a couple hours to get up and watch the truck pull. And it's a new event, spearheaded by Wade Thompson. And I know Wade had some other volunteers and that, all in support of muscular dystrophy. And when I went up, I didn't know what to expect, really. And they were pulling a fire truck across the TRA parking lot. But I tell you, what a fantastic event. And I'm sure it's something that's going to keep growing. It was very well organized. Not only did they have the 8 or 9 or 10 teams or whatever they had pulling the fire truck across the lot, they also had games set up for the kids. They had concessions set up. They had pony rides going on there. There was bouncy castles. You know, the only shame, I guess, was that there wasn't enough people probably that knew about it. Not because Wade and them didn't try to market it, because they did and did it well. But like anything else, when you do it for the first time, it takes a while to catch on. But and to see the fire truck being pulled there was a ladies team there that at one point from fundamentals had beat one of the firemen's teams.
Oh, that's quite interesting.
Beat their time, but the team from Con River took it down, and they, as I said on my Twitter feed, they looked like they could have picked up the fire truck and carried it across the line. There were some big guys there, but hats off to Wade for doing that. And the TRA parking lot, not a town facility, but turned out to be a great spot to host this, just because it was a natural little amphitheater. You had the
Was it downhill?
You had the grassy bank there, and it was a great facility, and everybody was having a fantastic time, and I thought it was worth mentioning. On the same day, I left the truck pull and went down in the afternoon and drove a Ford for minor baseball. Ford has a drive your vehicle event for charities and nonprofits, and they'll donate up to $6,000, $20 for every test drive, so 300 test drives, and they'll donate $6,000 to the charity. So again, minor baseball did a fantastic job in their marketing and getting people out for that. And I was told on that day that they've had several of these so far, and they've yet to get up to the 300. But of course, minor baseball here in Grand Falls-Windsor had 312. So 312 test drives, and they did get $6,000 raised. So again, a nice event. So it was one of those days, you know, I was going around, but it just made me proud to be not only a representative of the community, but a citizen, and to see all that. And I could go on because just 2 days ago there was a skate competition at a skate park, and we had people come in from out of town to participate in that, and that was a good success. And something that I'm sure they'll build on. So again, right, to see those facilities getting put to good use, and see the community and the people out spectating and enjoying themselves is nice to see. I'll probably have more to say about this after, but I had to mention Scouts again. I know there's times I mention the Scouts in this, and I don't know if you've been following them on Facebook at all. They're gone on their European trip. A local group from here, I don't know, there's probably 20 or so kids, I'm sure I'm off a bit, and so many leaders that through their fundraising efforts have this trip of a lifetime. And it really is. They're gone over, they visited Vimy Ridge, they visited Beaumont Hamel, they visited all the the important war sites, particularly as it relates to Canada and Newfoundland in particular. And they're on Facebook talking about they've received this honor, they've got this honor, they're the loudest crowd over there. They've been asked to lead the troops. You got a jamboree going on over there with, I think it's 650 kids or something. And our troop from Grand Falls-Windsor are the one. Pardon me?
Yeah, for sure.
Probably, Bruce. It could be. I could be wrong. Oh yeah, well, 3,800. There you go. And that's likely the case. And they're over in the Amsterdam area now, and the jamboree and the weather hasn't been the greatest, but their spirits are high and they're singing songs, and The other troops are talking about them, and they're involved in the flag raising, and Jason Note, one of the main leaders there, has been chosen to do some readings at some of these memorials and that, so just a fantastic job by the Scouts, and Rhonda Chippett has gone over as well. I should mention Rhonda's a volunteer and an employee sometimes with the town, and does a great job with the kids, and Rod's young fellow, not Nelson, Stephen Drake has gone over as well, so there's a great group gone over there, and they're representing us well. Salmon Fest, I won't have much to say about that. I congratulate Councillor Finn as well and the committee, and I know how much work goes into this. And we'll have more discussion on that, I'm sure, when that report is tabled. The last thing I'll mention, I had mentioned there about a week ago in an email, about Central Health and the impending consolidation that we're hearing about, and I know the town manager has done some digging into the issue and provided some information to council, and there's talks that there is going to be some consolidation of services, purchasing being one, IT I believe is another, human resources I believe, and some services that are in an effort for the provincial government to save money. They want to consolidate these services, and basically we know where they're going to be consolidated to. Very likely. I shouldn't say no, I guess, but we think we know that it's likely that they will be in St. John's. And, I know the town manager had mentioned, and I agree with him wholeheartedly, that this council should lobby the provincial government to see that the consolidation of services happens here in Grand Falls-Windsor. And, we still haven't, in my opinion, received the full, payback, if you will, for the mill closing back 6 years ago. We've got Tech now who have closed. What a better spot to centralize where we market ourselves as the center of healthcare excellence here in Grand Falls-Windsor. We have a dedicated group of physicians here. It would be cheaper for the government to consolidate here because of rental space and so on, as compared to St. John's. So,
and we have an Excite building.
And we have an Excite building, and we should get on that and really lobby. And now everybody knows it's an election year, so let's get on them and start lobbying to see if we can consolidate those services here in Grand Falls-Windsor. And I thought it was an important point that should be brought up here publicly. And other than that, Mr. Mayor, that's all I have for this evening.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and thank you everybody for your participation. And certainly there is a lot of things going on around our town, and it's always proud moment when you see people that are coming into the town and taking part in a lot of the activities that we have. I don't want to beat the Blue Jay thing out by any means, but I was really impressed with the way in which the professionals interacted with our kids. It was just absolutely amazing. They were so down to earth, and I had a great chat with Barfield and Mosby. As a matter of fact, I told them I went cod fishing on that day, and they were interested. They wanted to see some pictures, so I showed them some pictures. So they said to me, so is there any chance of us doing that? I said, well, I'll tell you what. You promise you come back to Grand Falls-Windsor next year, and I promise I'll take you cod fishing. So I don't know if that sparked it or not, Councillor Coady-Davis, but I will tell you that if they do return, my promise is on the table, and I'll have them out. Well, that's something we got to watch. We got to make sure that's in there.
So now you got to buy a boat.
Oh no! Well, Rodney's got a boat. He's a captain. He said so. He's skipper. So we'll see how that goes, and certainly they were great, and I'm sure that the kids were really involved. And one of the things, the closing ceremony, and I think it was Dwayne Ward or someone mentioned to me afterwards, the kids sat there while politicians gave their speeches. And you know what, that's like sometimes like pulling teeth. And the kids were sitting on that concrete, well, not the concrete floor, but on the covering, and must have went on for probably a half an hour or three-quarters. Not one sound. The kids were just like, they were fantastic. It was absolutely unbelievable. And one of the Blue Jays mentioned to me, well, I don't know about beat out or not, he said, I have never seen this, for kids to sit through that without making a sound. It was just fabulous. And when they gave instructions as to where to go for, to pick up their gloves and so on, they were just like, so well behaved. So again, I don't know if it's something that the coaches have instilled in them or not, but certainly, I tell you, hats off to everybody who did such a fabulous job on that camp. Just a couple of items. I did have the opportunity of going out to Mulrooney Avenue, and they had a ceremony out there for to recognize the building, the house that Irene Mulrooney lived in is actually still on the corner of Mulrooney, and so that's where they had their ceremony. And of course, it's owned by the Skinners now, and there were family representatives there, and of course, all the organizers of that event. It was absolutely fabulous, and certainly the weather could have cooperated a little bit better. And when you see the 24th of July on a Friday afternoon, and you realize somebody there with a skidoo suit and fur cap. Remember that, Randy? Skidoo suit and a fur cap. It wasn't Randy, by the way. It was somebody that showed up there. It was unbelievable. And cold, and the wind was coming around. I just about died. But anyway, only in Newfoundland. And I just took a week or so vacation as well, because we had friends of ours that we met a few years ago on a cruise from Atlanta, and they decided to, in the winter, they called me up and they said, when is a good time to come to Newfoundland? I said, well, don't come in May, don't come in June. By the middle of July, it should be all right. The temperature should be good. But I, just in case, bring a coat. Anyway, they were there for 10 days, didn't see the sun once. Temperature didn't get above 17. So they're gone back to Atlanta saying, I think these guys really do live in igloos. But it was crazy. The weather was just, was absolutely terrible. Couldn't have been worse. But anyway, they had a great time, and so did everybody else that comes here that have a good time. The other event that I participated in over the weekend was the Bauer family reunion. They have, every 10 years, they have a reunion, and the number of people that are attached to that family is increasing and multiplying significantly. I guess they believe the scripture, go forth and multiply. But they had over, well over 100 people at the Windsor Pentecostal church on the last weekend. And if you ever get a chance, this is a commercial plug now, Rodney Bowers, who is a chef from Toronto, he's attached to the Bowers. He has 2 restaurants in Toronto, and they're Hay Meatballs, H-E-Y, Hay Meatballs. Well, he did meatballs the weekend. And I'm telling you, there's never any meatballs I put in my mouth that was any better than the meatballs that he made. So my next trip to Toronto, I'm going to Little Italy, and I'm going to visit this guy. It was absolutely fabulous. And he prepared all the food for everybody that was there, and was all served in no time.
Coming back to our Salmon Festival and doing some sort of a traditional cook-up type
Oh,
idea.
really?
He said he's going to talk to us about that throughout the
Good.
year.
Now, I didn't get a chance, an opportunity to speak to him, because I had to leave early because I had another function on. But I just briefly had a chat with him, and I tell you, it was absolutely unbelievable. So anyway, that's a plug. So if you're ever in Toronto, drop by and see him at his restaurant. Okay, anything else? If not, for those of us who are trying to enjoy a few more days on vacation, I don't know if landscaping is in vacation or not, but anyway, it's one of those things. And it's been moved by Councillor Moores and second by Councillor Pinsent, and we'll see you all in 3 weeks.